Welcome to Two Crazy Scoops Podcast with your hosts, Ayo and Antino. This week we are interviewing a friend of ours who is going to talk to us about a variety of topics. Food, music, cars, traveling, and opera. I think we're going to throw that in there at some point. I really want to. Tom, you son of a gun, how you doing?
I wasn't expecting that last one, but yeah, I'm pretty good.
Oh, God.
So welcome to Two Crazy Scoots Podcast. Have you done a podcast before?
I have not. I have been interviewed by the newspaper and local TV news, I guess, but never done a podcast. Always wanted to.
Well, welcome to Podcast World, where anything and everything can and also cannot happen all at once. The possibilities are endless.
This is true.
Sounds like quite the paradox.
We've been stuck here for years, trapped. So, Aaron, how you feeling?
Good. Can't complain. It's a good day. It's Friday for us, at least.
Friday.
Oh, God, no. You know, it's been 10 years since that song came out, by the way.
Ah, yes.
One of my old I think it's been 10 years. Yeah, one of my old workmates sent out a meme that was like, it's 10 years since Friday. I was like, wow, has it been that long?
It's a long Friday.
It is. Anyway.
Where were you when Friday came out, Tom?
You know, honestly, I never even heard of that song, so.
Okay. You're not missing anything.
I mean, either you butchered it so much that it's beyond recognition, or it's just another generic pop song that came on the radio that they play in grocery stores that I just kind of ignored.
Actually, he didn't butcher it. He did a better version of it. Oh, God. This is a terrible song.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I never heard of it.
Wait, just let him hear the hook.
I can't get to it.
Yeah. 10 years ago, I was living in a town of like 18,000 people where everybody had more guns than children, and we didn't listen to that kind of music. So you could ask my wife. I have lived under a rock for the majority of my life.
That is okay, because unfortunately, me and Aaron were forced by the general public to listen to that song.
Yeah.
Against our will.
Yeah.
And look at us now.
You didn't, exactly. You didn't miss anything.
Oh, good.
You didn't miss anything. Yeah. So you mentioned where you grew up. So tell us, where did you grow up?
Tell us about the guns.
Okay, yeah, I can dive into that. The easiest answer is to just say Nevada. If you ask me what part of Nevada, most of my time was spent in a town called Elko. Some people have heard of it, but it's a mining town. A lot of gold mining jobs. People can graduate straight out of high school and make like $30 an hour or more. It's pretty crazy, and it's a small town. It's not until the past 10 years or so it's really grown because everybody is attracted to the gold mining money.
Oh.
Other than that, it was a pretty small town. Where I lived before that was Reno, which is, of course, a lot bigger city.
Mm-hmm.
And in between living in Arizona and Nevada, I've lived in other states like North Carolina and Idaho, New Mexico. I've kind of lived all over the place, but mostly Nevada.
Okay.
And not next to Vegas. It's a pretty huge state.
I was just about to ask you that.
Yeah, it's like an 8-hour drive north of Vegas. Mm-hmm. Totally different weather, snows in May.
I've never been to Vegas, and for a long time, I didn't even know Vegas was in Nevada. But from what I'm looking at on the map right now, you're pretty much on the north of Nevada, and Vegas is pretty much almost Arizona.
You know, We don't really consider Vegas as Nevada. It's like the adopted stepchild that just happens to be close to Nevada.
Oh, and sorry to all of our adopted stepchilds out there listening right now.
They feel the same way about us. I'm not going to lie.
I didn't know you've never been to Vegas.
I mean, why would I go to Vegas?
Why wouldn't you go to Vegas?
I don't know.
It's a lot of stuff to do there. It's not just gambling. You do realize that, right?
I know that, but
There's shows. There's lots of entertainment.
If I want to see an Elvis impersonator, I will dress up as Elvis and look in the mirror.
I don't think that's going to work.
Yeah, you do not look like Elvis. But
I don't need to. Neither of those other guys.
True.
Anyways.
We are going to Vegas.
No, I'm never going to Vegas.
Why?
I am adamantly opposed to going there.
Why?
I don't like large crowds and public intoxication.
Yeah, but during this time,
that's only on one part of Vegas. Like the Vegas you see on TV is not the rest of Vegas.
Yeah, dude.
The rest of it is much worse.
Well, he's not helping my point. Ignore what he just said, though. We're going to Vegas.
I'd
I'm rather
take
go
you to Vegas.
We're going to plan a trip to Vegas.
Someplace nice, outdoorsy, maybe somewhere in Montana.
Dude, there's a lot of nice things to do in Vegas. I'm telling you.
I can go fishing in Montana.
We're going to Vegas.
I'd
rather Two Crazy Scoops are going to Vegas.
I'm sorry to have you hear us fight like this, Tom.
We're going to Vegas. I didn't know you'd never been. We are going to Vegas.
I'm not going to Vegas.
It's a 5-hour drive from here, really, and you've never been to Vegas.
I could go to Prescott. I could go to
Scottsdale. But you've been there before, but you have not been to Vegas.
I could go to Sedona,
but
the beautiful red rocks of Sedona.
You've been there before. We're going to Vegas. That's our next trip. Well, technically, that's not our next trip, but that'll be our next trip.
Have you been to Sedona?
I have not, but I definitely plan on it.
Are you an outdoorsy kind of person?
Yeah.
Are you into, there's a lot of people that have interesting beliefs in Sedona, and they go there.
Yeah, well, you go there. No, you go see the Red Rocks.
Exactly. It was just funny. It's mysticism. Anyways, it's really nice out in Sedona. The weather's nice. The food's good. There's this pizza place I like down there. Of course, I like pizza places at all places, but Sedona's a good place. Should I go to Vegas, Tom?
It's one of those things. You got to do it just to say you did it. And then find out how terrible it is.
I went to L.A. and that was miserable.
No.
Okay, Vegas is better than L.A. I'll give it that.
Okay, because L.A.
If you go to Vegas with me, you will have fun. Because I know just the right things to get into. And not all the way in, just dip our toes in.
Oh my gosh, Aaron. You know what? I think this podcast is over, to be honest. I went to L.A. and you always think of like the walkway. What is that? You're lost in another world, Aaron. I don't even want to know what's going on the edge of the table.
I'm thinking about Vegas. I'm sorry. What were you talking about? Oh, you want to go to the walk of the Hollywood?
I went there last time. I went to LA because I had to go, and it was very. I never even had any expectations for LA, but it was.
But you went to Hollywood, you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, Hollywood is disgusting.
Yeah, but it was funny because like there was you know how they have the stars on the ground?
Yeah.
They had the Andy Griffith star. So Andy Griffith show, wholesome, and this mom is trying to take a picture of her little children posing with this, and around us was people like smoking marijuana and homeless people, and all around us was just this craziness going on, and she's trying to make this a wholesome moment, but there's just insanity all around the Andy Griffith star on Hollywood.
Yeah, like I said, Hollywood is disgusting, and I don't necessarily recommend that, but there's so much more to LA than...
Oh, I'm sure there is, but, you know.
Yeah, that's what I said. You got to go with me. I will show you all the right spots. Anyway, back to you, Tom. This is really
What are the right spots?
Well, did you go to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, for example?
No. Okay.
That's one. That's one. See, you thought I was trying to... I'm not trying to get you in trouble. We're going,
Aaron, to be honest...
we are going to have...
At this point, I don't know.
No, we're going to...
It's Vegas.
We would have wholesome fun.
Okay.
And what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Remember that.
It follows you.
It can.
Tom, please don't share this with your friends.
What happens in Vegas moves to Pahrump, which is the separated pimple off the backside of Vegas.
Wow.
Wow.
It's like I'm trying to think of what Arizona town equates to it.
Jerome.
It's kind of like a smaller version of Kingman, like the scummiest part of Kingman. 50 miles away from Vegas, separated by a beautiful mountain. It's like you come over this beautiful canyon, and you're like, oh, this is so wonderful. And then you drop into Pahrump and realize it's full of toothless retired people that hate everything, including movie theaters. How can a town of 60,000 people not have a movie theater? It's a crime against humanity.
Wow.
And anybody under 65.
So you drive through there when you're coming from Vegas?
No, my dad decided he didn't want to be a popsicle anymore in northern Nevada, so he bought a house in southern Nevada. But he didn't want to live in the city. So somewhere along all my travels moving around the country, I ended up moving there just because it was easy. Mm-hmm. And it was okay till I got married, and my wife decided that place was terrible and needed to burn with fire.
Okay. And what's the name of this city again?
Pahrump.
Pahrump.
P-A-H-R-U-M-P.
And that's Arizona?
Or That's Nevada. In Nevada.
That's Nevada. But it's close to the border?
It's close to, it's on the California-Nevada border.
Got you. Okay. So it's on the west side of the state. Southwest side, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a map in front of me, so my geography is a little bit.
I can share it with you if you'd like.
Yes, if you could. So, really quickly, before we hop to the next one, let me just ask you, so out of the different places that you mentioned that you lived in, what was your favorite? Because you mentioned North Carolina, too. For how long were you in North Carolina?
I was there for about 3 years.
Okay, do you remember what part?
It was a little town called Lexington.
Okay, and how did you like it out there?
I guess when I was a kid, it was okay, but as an adult, I have come to realize that I definitely prefer living in the West.
Okay, got you. All right, so North Carolina, and what was some of the other places you mentioned? Idaho,
I lived in Boise.
Okay.
That was pretty cool, but I had moved there right when the 2008 crisis happened, and growing up in the gold mining community, we were kind of in an economy bubble, so I didn't realize how messed up the rest of the world was at that time. So when I moved to Boise about a year after that whole thing happened, jobs were definitely not plentiful. One of the McDonald's I applied to had 1,200 applications.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
So I survived by taking a can of gas and a lawnmower around my neighborhood and just doing whatever I could for cash. I remember one woman said, well, my husband mows my lawn. I said, why don't you give him the gift of a day off? She said, you know what? I think he would like that. And she became a regular customer.
Nice. All right.
At that time, I was driving a 1969 Dodge Coronet station wagon.
Wow.
It was known in that little town in Nevada I grew up in. Everybody knew that car. When I started a mobile oil change business, it later became the Dipstick Mobile. Then when I moved up to Idaho, it was my lawnmower car because all my lawn mowing stuff would fit in the back of that thing.
Oh, so you were able to drive it all the way to Idaho?
Yeah, I would drive that car everywhere. I remember my dad and I drove it to Phoenix, met up with like 100 other cars, and we drove to a car show in Vegas. At that time, they didn't have the bridge going over the Hoover Dam, so there's 100 or 200 old cars going over the Hoover Dam in a big convoy. It was pretty awesome.
Oh, so that I didn't realize how new that bridge was.
Yeah, well, this was back in 2009.
Okay.
So
but still,
I guess it's still fairly new.
Yeah, I just thought it had been there for years, you know. So, interesting. Man. So the car was, so if you were in the car show, like you drove the car, so you had it fixed up really nicely?
Yeah, at that time, I had the car in the car show because my dad had just painted it. Him and I worked on it together. At that time, it still had the original engine from 1969. And then when they started introducing ethanol into fuel, it started chewing some pieces up because they weren't meant for that kind of fuel. And it still ran, though. It just lost a lot of guts and was getting half the fuel mileage, so we just yanked it out and put a new engine in it. I thought about rebuilding the old one, but we put a little bit bigger one with more power, or so we thought. It was a crate engine, so it wasn't that great, but yeah, I drove that car forever and ever and ever, and ended up selling it because one wire was loose and it wouldn't start. And my mechanical knowledge wasn't as good then as it is now, so I ended up selling it for a dumb reason, and I always talk about it.
Oh man. Well, that's you did better than me. I don't know anything about cars, so better than I did.
Yeah, I just kind of know how to drive one poorly.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, cool. So let's kind of go into some of your interests then. So you specifically made a request and you said that food would be topic number 1. So
Let's explore that a little bit.
yeah, shall we?
Oh, that could go all kinds of different directions because
Let's start with fried ice cream.
And fried pickles.
I've had fried pickles, but not fried ice cream. I'm sorry.
Fried ice cream is actually pretty good.
I've never had it.
Oh, well, the name is deceiving, but really only the outer shell is fried. The inside is still cold. You just fry it outside, so it's a little crust over it. It's pretty good.
Oh, is that where they put like brandy or something on it and they light it up?
No.
Because I've had that. I don't know what it's called, but
No, this is ice cream that's actually like battered and you fry it. But it's a quick fry.
that sounds like it destroys so many physics on so many levels.
No, I know. That's what it's hard to describe.
It's an
Just
enigma.
just think of a ball of ice cream, right? You roll it in batter, right? And you just throw it in the grease real quickly. So the outer crust like fries and hardens real quickly. And then you take it out real quickly and put it into your whatever you're going to put it into. And then you can eat it. And the crust is cooked, but the ice cream is still cold because you only left it in the grease for a few seconds. Does that make sense?
Sounds like my coworker's hat when I worked at Wendy's a long, long time ago. It was only in the fryer for a few seconds. That oil was still good. We figured it was 400 degrees.
Are you serious?
No.
Oh, God. See, this is what happens when you eat fast food. You never know what you're going to get.
Hey,
Especially
we were
with a bunch of kids.
We were younger. That's when I was driving that big station wagon. I bought that thing when I was 15. I delivered beer with my dad at age 15 because Nevada. And
delivered beer.
I saved up all my paychecks, bought that car, and my dad and I fixed it up together.
Wow.
And I had more cars in my single years than most people have had in their lifetime. Just buying them, driving them for a while, and selling them.
Wait, hold up. So how many cars have you ever had, Antino?
1, 2, 3.
So you've had 3?
Yeah.
Really? I don't think how many. I had a 4.
You go through cars like...
Me?
Yeah.
No.
You had 2 cars at one time, which is more cars than I've ever had.
Oh, my
possession
goodness.
of in
Okay,
my
no,
life.
that means nothing. Okay, my first car was a 89 Ford Tempo. Then I had
2
a
cars at the
then I
same
had a-
time
no.
for a single guy.
and then I had a
2 cars.
Buick.
Who's driving that other car?
I forgot. I had a Buick for a while, but I forgot what kind it was. And then I had a Honda Civic. And then I had
I think everyone's had a Honda Civic except
Yeah.
for me.
a Honda Civic. Then I got an Accord. I upgraded. And then I got a Hyundai Elantra. And then I got
That hybrid.
no, it wasn't a hybrid.
Oh,
And then it was then I got a Kia Forte, and that's what I moved to Arizona with. Then I had a Chevy Volt, and now I have a Ford Focus. I kind of went back a step. So I've had 8 cars. So that's not too shabby in 20 years, right?
Don't ask me to count because I can't even remember some of the cars I've had. Most of them, I would say more than half were made before 1975.
Wow. Okay.
And out of the half of that half, I guess a quarter, only a quarter of those ran.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them didn't even have engines or transmissions. I just was going to fix them up someday, but my minimum wage wallet said otherwise.
Got you.
Do you have lights on the bottom of your car?
No.
Okay, just wondering. At any point in your life, have you had lights in the bottom of your car?
I have not.
Okay, just wondering.
Unless it was a Jeep and it was a light bar.
Oh.
Got you.
How do you feel about people that put lights underneath their cars?
I mean, they make them, so somebody's got to buy them.
What do you feel? I feel like
I'm just wondering.
I feel like there's something.
It
there's a
seems
story
like he's
here.
really into cars, and so when I come across something I'm interested in and people are doing things that are a little backwards, I kind of have an opinion on it. But I was wondering if you had an opinion on it. But he doesn't. So...
Okay, so back to that fried hat at Wendy's. So you have you mentioned to me earlier something about burgers or something to that effect.
Oh, yeah. So this is how I judge a burger restaurant. I actually have, I want to patent this formula, actually. The first thing I look at is what kind of cheese are they putting on? If I'm spending $15 on a burger and they slap a Kraft American single on there, they're not going to get my business. What kind of lettuce are they using? Are they using iceberg or romaine? Because iceberg is just like a slap to the face, like we're really cheap and we want you to know it and we don't care about you. Whereas romaine is more like a hug, like we're willing to spend a little more money because we love you.
Now, see, I'm much more picky about that because I want that, the green mesclun mix. That's a step above the romaine. It's
Okay,
like those
but
really green leaves. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like the baby, when you buy like the baby salads or whatever, the baby leaf salads.
I'm definitely with you, but romaine has to be the bare minimum.
Got you. Okay.
How is the beef seasoned? That's another one I could go on for that for a long time. Mm-hmm. And
Or
also,
some places use horse meat. So how's the horse meat season?
I have had horse meat actually in Iceland.
I was only joking, but okay. So, how was that?
Absolutely wonderful. So in Iceland, they slaughter the horses that are too dumb to train. So we rode horses in the morning, and at night we ate their dumb cousins.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, I hope I didn't offend any vegans, but anyway, going back to the burgers. So, and I'm not even talking about like Burger King or McDonald's. Those are not even on the table for this discussion. Just like an upscale burger place. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because my wife and I went to an upscale burger place in Scottsdale. Mm-hmm. And they have the audacity to ask us if we had a reservation when the beef isn't even seasoned with anything, not even salt or pepper. And it was iceberg lettuce. Fries were an extra side for a $15 burger. That was an extra $7. So that's another cardinal sin for a burger place. You got to have a side. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's sea urchin. It has to have a side.
Sea urchin.
Which I've eaten that as well. But another thing I judge a burger place on is their beer menu if they have one. If Bud Light, Coors, or Miller are listed predominantly, then I won't eat there. Also, even if they have it on the menu, it's like this is just not the crowd I want to be with.
That is hilarious.
I don't mean anything. I have friends that love Coors, and
No, don't apologize. Just stand by your words. Be as offensive as you want to be.
Okay,
to those people who drink Bud and Miller. And what was the other one? Coors. All of it is terrible. It's garbage. So
this place in Scottsdale, the only beers they had on tap were Bud, Miller, Coors, and one craft IPA. So to me, in an upscale neighborhood in Scottsdale, they should have a better selection, and those three, what I call the unholy trinity of beers, should not even be within 100 miles of that restaurant. So $50 later for two people, I felt like I could have done better at a fast food place, honestly.
Yeah,
and they
dude.
don't even serve beer.
Dude, you could have went to Five Guys and just had a great burger there.
And it would have been overly seasoned with salt, but
Right,
at least it
yeah.
would have had seasoning.
I was going to say, you would have the opposite problem there because they dump so much salt. And I mean, my blood pressure is through the roof when I eat there. Which is why I rarely ever go there. I've probably been there in Arizona 7 years. I've probably been there like maybe, I can count on one hand how many times I've been there. Love the food, but my God, it shortens, it takes 2 years off your life every time you go there. But,
it's good, though. I'm
yeah,
not going to lie.
It is very good. Yeah, you could have went to Zen Burger and got a better, much better burger than
for half the price.
From what
Zen Burger is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. They don't have American cheese. The beef is lovingly seasoned with at least more than salt and pepper. And they serve fries with their burgers. And I don't think they have Bud or any of those on their menu.
I don't think so either, but I don't remember.
If they do, they keep it locked in a deep, dark basement somewhere.
Right. Only if you happen to know they serve it. I'm sorry, you did mention something earlier I have to come back to. You mentioned sea urchin. Where did you have sea urchin and why?
Strangely enough, it wasn't when I was in Japan. It was when I was a sushi chef in New Mexico.
Oh, my goodness.
And the head chef decided to buy sea urchin one day for whatever reason. And my boss was this old Chinese guy who would just be like, sushi boy, do this or that. Mm-hmm. And one day he's like, hey, sushi boy, come try this sea urchin. So I try this sea urchin because he knows I'll eat anything. He's given me like jellyfish and all this stuff. So I tried the sea urchin, and I'm not going to lie, I liked it. It was like a fish-flavored gummy bear.
Oh, wow. And you just had it by itself, no rice or...
I had it wrapped in seaweed and rice.
Okay, got you. So it was actually like a sea urchin roll.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. That's just the easiest way to call it. But, yeah, it's pretty good.
Interesting, yeah.
We don't have Bud Light or Coors at Zen Burger.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
that's why Zen Burger is good.
Shout out to Zen Burger.
We need to get paid for this. So, yeah, that's really interesting. Sea urchin. Okay.
If I want to make this, if you wanted me to make this weirder, I could tell you that I was living at a cemetery when I was a sushi chef eating sea urchin.
Okay. So why were you living at a cemetery? I would imagine the rent was pretty cheap.
I was going to say that.
It was great real estate. People were dying to get in there.
Oh, my gosh.
But yeah, so that's a long story. I'll just give you the short story that my dad got transferred there with his job, hauling crude oil. He was a truck driver. I moved there somewhere about a year or two after he moved there, and then he moved back to Nevada. And I had a lot of friends I liked there. I wanted to stick it out, but the cost of living there was quite a bit higher than what my job paid. And a friend of mine, his dad owned the town cemetery and let me live in their office for free.
Wow. Okay. Well, hey, free is good.
Free 99.
Yeah. So I don't blame you. I probably would have lived there as well.
I lived there for about a year.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Interesting. Okay.
This got a little deeper than you thought it would.
No, it's fine. And that's why that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, because I figured it would be a very interesting ride. So we got food. What about music? You said you are a big music fan, and I know that you also create music.
I do, actually. I go by the unofficial name of Blah Nuggets.
Blah Nuggets.
Yeah.
I love it.
Where were you when you came up with this name?
Who knows? I was probably just... Yeah, I don't remember.
You were drinking Bud Light. Weren't you?
No, I would never.
Blah Nuggets.
I love it, though. I love the name.
I think I was making a song, and I usually just type whatever words come to my mind before I think of an official title. And I was like, blah. Blow nuggets. I don't know. This stuff randomly comes to me, but I guess I kind of did that because it's so ambiguous. Because I do so many different kinds of music, anything from 60s surf instrumentals to opera to trance or whatever you call electronic music these days. Okay. I don't even know what the genre is I'm writing half the time. I just feel, I don't think.
Nice.
Can we find your stuff online?
Probably not, but I've got some stuff with me.
AirDrop me something.
I left my phone on the other table.
It's okay. We can wait. Aaron can
I'll get it for you.
Do 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 do. And we're back with Two Crazy Scoops. We've got Tom here. He's about to share with us some music that he created from out of his brain into yours.
Okay, so this one I'm going to airdrop you is called Knights of the Rock Table.
Okay.
It started out as me just trying to experiment with doing like medieval or Renaissance-y type stuff.
Okay.
And then it just got I got totally carried away with it.
Do you have a lute by chance?
I do not, but that is one instrument I could add to my collection.
Oh, yes, I would. Knights of the Rock Table. Man, here we go. So how do you make this?
I use all kinds of different programs. I use FL Studio, GarageBand. I can't remember the other ones.
It almost sounds like a Western, like a Western film.
Yeah, like I said, I never know what genre I'm making.
You know, it's changing up a little bit now, but in the beginning, it kind of have you ever played Age of Empires by any chance? It's like a game.
Too many hours.
Okay, the beginning of that reminded me of like Age of Empires, like what they would play during the.
You're not going to sue us for playing this, are you?
You what?
I said you're not going to sue us for playing this, are you?
No.
I'm just kidding.
Everything's copywritten. You're good to go.
No, it's not. Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. Like it's like a medieval type real-time strategy game, but the medieval section, that's what the music sounded like in the beginning to me. Now it's
Western again. You went back to the old West.
Yeah, now
riding on a horse.
Now it's Western.
Going to the shootout.
But it started off medieval.
You're on the wrong side of town, ayo.
This song needs lyrics.
This ain't big enough for the two of us.
Antino, you should record lyrics to this.
I'd rather not, because I'm a little busy.
I do have some songs with lyrics.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, the beginning was done on my 12-string, some finger picking. This guitar is my 1965 Daimaru Japanese surf guitar.
Dude, we should use
a lot of stuff is
this
just.
This should be the outro music.
This is going to be the outro for this episode, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Awesome. So, do you have anything else with you?
Yeah.
You got one more for us?
Knights of the Rock
One
Table.
more. I'll have to really think about this because I have kind of a Beach Boys kind of sounding song. Let me see if I can find it.
Ayo's riding out.
And when did you
Tombstone?
When did you start making music? Like when did you get into it?
I think when I was in the 7th grade, my band teacher used to use this program called Finale Notepad. It was like sheet music, and it would have a green bar that would go along with the music. Mm-hmm. And I asked him, where can I get that? And he gave me a copy of the free version, and I would put like orchestral pieces together as good as I could in the 7th grade. And then I quit playing the trumpet and picked up the bass and just started playing all kinds of instruments.
So what instruments can you play now?
I can still play the trumpet. I can halfway play the trombone, guitar, bass, Japanese ocarina, ukulele.
I have an ocarina.
Hey, ocarina.
I 3D printed an ocarina. It's around here somewhere. I need to glue it together, but I mean, it still works.
Okay, I'm going to send another one to you. I just got to make sure it's the right version because one of them...
Is unedited.
Oh, no.
No, I got...
Explicit lyrics.
No, when I was recording it, something happened, and I had to re-record it. And I never know which one it's... Okay, it's this one because it's longer. So when I was about 23, I guess, I bought a 23, 24, 25. We'll just say 20-something. I bought a fairly new Dodge Dart when they first came out. It was one of the turbocharged ones with a 6-speed. And I love listening to hot rod songs with my dad, and I wanted to kind of bring that back. So I wrote a song about my turbocharged Dart smoking Honda Civics and stuff.
That's the name of the song?
It's called Bright Red Dart.
Oh, I thought the song was called Smoking Honda Civics. I was like,
Whoa.
I was like, okay.
Hey, I love stuff from the 60s, but that's not the smoking we're talking about.
Okay, here we go. Going in blind. Oh, yeah. Heading down to the beach with Ao and Antino and Tom. Oh. What you guys doing? There's a beach here. And crabs and stuff.
And crabs and stuff.
I just bought a bright red dart. It's turbocharged.
Turbocharged!
I got a good deal and I feel real smart. I just polished it and it looks so good in the sun. In the sun. It has 6 speeds and it really goes. Turn the traction off and watch it fly.
I love it.
The old car shows don't challenge me 'cause I don't want to make you cry.
Wow.
I got some wine in the fridge. You want some wine? I can
I'm
go pour you some
fine.
wine. Okay, you? Okay. For some reason, I just want a shot of something.
How does this music get...
Makes me want to drink.
You have a weird
Is it that
association
bad?
music. Where's my revolver?
I'm about to pour me a shot of brandy.
That is cool. So the drums are a drum machine?
The drums are FL Studio. The bass and guitar are me playing. I just remembered I do have a song with me playing the trumpet, and that's the one I wanted to pick, but I forgot.
You still
Well-
have time.
Well, another thing too was I was going to tell you is if you want to send it to us, also we can add it to our Instagram story when we post the episode too.
Surfing in Tucson. I don't know how we did it, but we got it.
Well, this song is called Hydrocarbon Desert Surfers.
Oh, yeah.
And hydrocarbon is basically the unburnt, it's a term, without getting too sciencey here, it's a term describing like unburnt parts of fuel from the old unleaded days before we had catalytic converters, things like that. Mm-hmm. And the desert surfers part comes from my dad and I driving old cars all over the western United States all the time. Mm-hmm. So this one I kind of put together. I wanted to make a song with every instrument I play at the time. Mm-hmm. So you'll hear my 12-string, the guitar, a trombone, a trumpet, my ukulele, and the ocarina.
Nice.
And the drums were done by either FL Studio or GarageBand. I can't remember. Most likely FL Studio.
This sounds like an intro to a James Bond film.
I'm James Bond. I don't know how I got here, but I'm here. Oh, look, there's a bad guy.
There's a bad guy.
Another bad guy, and then a pretty woman that we're just going to throw in here for no reason. Oh, she's the bad guy. Oh, my gosh.
Exactly.
Oh, no, I've been betrayed again by another woman.
Exactly. That's pretty much every James Bond film.
Women, my only weakness.
Nice.
James Bond just went to Spain.
Spain?
That's what this sounds like. Doesn't that sound like Spain?
This sounds like
Barcelona.
I've never been to Barcelona, so I guess I couldn't tell you.
But this is the music I imagine they play in Barcelona.
It is based on old Spanish classical pieces.
Thank you. I'm not
Which is
completely
what
crazy.
most surf music is based on. Surf music takes a lot of tones from Middle Eastern and mostly Spanish connotations, which oddly enough is where metal came from. Metal is like the weird grandson of surf music.
Okay.
Because the original metal follows a lot of the same chord progressions, things like that. Just instead of singing like the Beach Boys, they started screaming, and the guitar started screaming too. But if you break it down, it all goes back to classical Spanish music.
Wow.
Wow.
I would have never put the two together. But see, I'm not crazy, Antino. I can sense these things.
You can sense them?
I have some sense of...
this smells like heavy metal.
Yeah, I'm serious, though. I can't... I'm not a musician, but I love music, and I pay close attention to the different types and the origins and where things come from, and I can definitely hear the Spanish influence for sure. So, yeah, see, I'm not completely crazy.
Not yet.
Not
There's
yet.
Still time.
So, this song, you said you named it after the fact that you used to drive through the desert with all these different cars. So, tell us a little bit about the different cars.
Did we miss something?
Oh, that was the end.
Oh,
That was me slapping the
yeah.
guitar.
So tell us a little bit more about the cars. Did you do all the work on these different cars yourself?
No. In the beginning, my dad did a lot of it, and especially when I broke stuff, he would be like, "Go over there, don't bug me." Mm-hmm. But that was only when I broke stuff, which was a lot, because I found out that a 16-year-old with a lead foot with 40-year-old parts doesn't work too well when you're doing donuts in a dirt lot with your friends, or in the wintertime seeing who can go around the telephone pole the coolest in their car. I always won because I had this big, huge, heavy car that I could control really well.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I would say cars started from birth. My dad was always into cars since he was a kid, and I've always been around cars growing up. I don't remember, but I've seen pictures of me in a car seat in one of his old hot rods he was building. And he had this one particular car that took him 20 years to finish, just because fixing an old car is such an expensive hobby. Mm-hmm. But I always admired his dedication and passion, and always kind of wanted to emulate that myself. Where it gets different, though, is my dad and I's taste in cars kind of diverge slightly. He likes the fast muscle cars, and I always liked the long, big, slow cruisers. In addition to that wagon, I had a 64 Chrysler Imperial, which is a 22-foot long, 6,000-pound tank.
Okay.
That I remember the neighborhood I grew up in had a lot of dirt roads. I remember going sideways around a corner in that thing, and it just kept sliding and sliding and sliding, and I slammed on the brakes, and it kept going and going, and then I ran out of gas and had to push that thing home. And I'm about 5'4" and $135, so that pushing a 6,000-pound car was pretty interesting.
Have you ever gotten in any wrecks or anything?
Oddly enough, I haven't. All the stuff I've done in cars, I should have, but I never did.
That's good. I mean, that's a good thing. That you haven't got destroyed anything.
Yeah, that was a conversation I had with my dad a long time ago, is how come you can do burnouts but I can't? Mm-hmm. And he said, because I'm older and more experienced. And I said, but you still got the experience somewhere, right?
Nice. Okay, cool. So as of now, like today, what do you do you still do any of your own work now on cars or anything like that? Or
yeah, I've got a 1967 Dodge A100, which is kind of like a compact van.
Okay.
I've been working on that because I've always wanted one, and my dad and I together are working on a 66 Dodge Charger that I've had since I was 13.
Oh, wow. Okay.
and I had given it to him to pay off some money that I owed him. And one day he surprised me while he was working on it, and he said, "You know, your name's still on the title, so it's our car." So that was kind of cool. Like, he said, as long as I take care of it and have a place to keep it, I can drive it whenever I want.
Okay. Nice. So, excuse me. When we were talking earlier, you mentioned something about Japan. So you've been to Japan?
Have you Tokyo drifted?
I haven't. I didn't have an international driver's license at the time.
Wow.
Okay, so
This podcast is over. I'm sorry.
when did you go though, and how did you get there? Like, what made you want to go there? And
I went in 2013. I was 23 at the time, or 22, somewhere around there. And I had kind of just thought I wanted to do like all this crazy stuff before I settled down and got married. So going to another country was one of those things, and I always loved the Japanese culture. At that time, I was working full-time at an electrical parts distributor, and I also had a janitorial gig on the side. So I worked 2 jobs and just saved a big chunk of money and went out there and lived like a king because I had all this money saved up. And pretty much anything I wanted to do in the country, I was able to do. I was there for 2 weeks, and I had a rail pass, which is a pass foreigners can buy that grants them unlimited travel on the trains, including the bullet trains. So I just kind of traveled around the country, and in fact, that ocarina that you were listening to, I purchased in Japan.
oh wow, okay. Now, did you speak any Japanese at this point?
Just a little bit. I was kind of studying a little bit and learning just enough to be able to get around.
Okay. Now, you said 2013, so it's been 8 years since you've been. So have you continued to learn Japanese?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I'm still learning it.
Okay. So can you say something for us in Japanese? Anything. You can pick whatever you say.
Konnichiwa,
Yeah, don't say konnichiwa or domo arigato.
Mr. Roboto.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of something.
Can you say I can play the ocarina in Japanese?
Can you say Aaron's an idiot?
I can, actually.
Yes, say that.
Hopefully none of my Japanese friends are listening.
All of them are listening right now.
Aran wa baka desu.
Oh, wow. You just said I was an idiot.
Yeah.
Wait, but how did you say my name, though?
Aran.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Or Aron. You can say either one, I think.
Okay.
Aaron.
Do you put son at the end? Can you put son at the end of it?
Oh, yeah.
Dono.
I always forget that, and it's because I'm American, but my Japanese friends forgive me for that. Eron-san wa baka desu.
I love it. I love it.
I can also say Fujisawa ni toramasu ka, which means, does this stop at Fujisawa Station?
Oh, okay. That's important.
Konya wa heya wa aitamasu ka? Do you have a room for tonight? Very important to know when you walk into a random hotel in a random town.
Sounds like it.
The most important Japanese phrase is the same as the most important Spanish phrase, and that is biru kudasai. That means beer, please.
Okay. Yeah.
Or if you're really in the mood for a good night, you say biru to sake kudasai.
Like sake,
Yeah,
please.
beer and sake.
Nice. Cool. What were your favorite parts of, like, when you were there? Like, what was your favorite thing that you saw? Like, for example, did you get a chance to see Mount Fiji?
I did, actually, and
Or wait, did I say that right?
Mount Fiji?
Is it Fiji or Fuji?
No, I think it's Fiji.
Fuji.
It's Fuji. I'm sorry. Did you see Mount?
No.
Did you see Mount Fuji? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
I
did.
said it wrong. Dumb American. Sorry.
Yeah, and the bullet train was pretty cool because it has this crazy sound when it takes off. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. I would say the thing that impressed me the most about Japan is the people. Mm-hmm. There's people living literally on top of each other, and they, for the most part, get along. I was crammed into a subway train like a sardine, and my stop came up, and I threw my hand up, and a guy from the outside instructed everybody to empty out of the car so I could get off, and then they all piled back in. Man, if that happened over here, I'd be stuck on that train forever. The subways were cleaner than the subways over here.
Like New York, for example.
Yeah.
New York is terrible.
They're extremely clean. Everybody is very polite and respectful of each other. And the Capsule Hotel, which is a super cheap hotel, it's literally a fiberglass shell that you sleep in, and they're stacked on top of each other. That was the quietest hotel I'd ever stayed in.
Wow.
And also the food. I think that's kind of what gave me the idea to work in a sushi restaurant.
Okay. Did you, I have to ask, did you happen to see Godzilla while you were there?
I did not, but I saw a life-size Gundam replica, and that was pretty awesome.
Wow. Oh, I think I've seen that. The replica of that before. Did you go to Nintendo headquarters?
I did not. I didn't really know a lot about that kind of stuff then, but I mostly wanted to see the landscape and the parts of Japan you don't really hear about. Mm-hmm. I did go to this town called Takayama, mm-hmm. which I found out was a tourist trap. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I was told, but I was the only American there at the time, so maybe I just hit it at a good time. But Takayama is it's a more like a historical town. Mm-hmm. It would be the equivalent of Tombstone or Bisbee in Arizona.
Okay.
Only it's a little bigger. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of historical buildings, and it's pretty cool. Like, you go to a ramen shop there, and the cooks are dressed very traditionally. It's pretty awesome. And that's actually, Takayama is where I got the ocarina. There's a guy there. He doesn't have a website or anything. He's just this old guy in a little rundown shack making these things by hand. And I've only found one other reference to it on the internet, and all it was the same question I had. Does anybody know who this guy is?
Huh. Interesting.
Can you explain honorifics to us in the Japanese language?
Honorifics?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Like, when referring to someone like a friend, you would say, like, isn't it san or something?
You know, I'm still kind of trying to figure that out.
Oh.
San is more of just a generic, like, what you call everybody. Uh-huh. Your friends you might call kun or chan, if it's a younger friend. Well, yeah, pretty much in the Japanese culture, you never just call someone their name and that's it. You always have to have something after it. And I get in a lot of trouble because I always forget that. And, I mean, they're pretty forgiving, but I get more annoyed at myself than they do. I'm like, come on, you should know this by now. But in American culture, we're just so casual with a lot of stuff, you know, like, hey, what's up, bro? Mm-hmm. I remember in Japan, a couple of people there were learning English. They said, we want to hear you talk to the American people here because we've only learned textbook English. We want to know, like, the real English. And I said, well, it depends on who you're talking to from America. If you're talking to someone from the South, you got to say, hey, y'all. He said, oh, like the rappers. What up, y'all? So, yeah, it's kind of the same, only the ones I was referring to were not rappers. Or you could instead of saying, hello, my name is, just say, well, I guess for an introduction, but I was telling them with your friends, you just say, hey, what's up, or how's it going? You don't have to be so formal. And Japanese is kind of the same. You don't have to be super formal with your friends. But they just really enjoyed listening to what they called real English. I don't know what that is because most people don't even speak real English anymore.
True.
It's just a conglomeration of phrases.
Mm-hmm.
Just read any comments on the internet.
Yeah, seriously.
What language are you speaking?
Did you have a chance to go to any of the islands around Japan? Like for example, for me, I would love to go to Okinawa, but
I went to a little island called Enoshima Island.
Enoshima. Let's see, because I think I have a list of islands that are up right here. So what did you do what did you do there?
Mostly just hiked and walked around. They have a few little shops, but mostly they have gardens, things like that. Little, I guess, built up hiking trails. And yeah, that was pretty cool because prior to that, I had never seen the ocean before.
Really?
So my first time seeing the ocean was when I was 23 in Japan.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That is a sight to behold, for sure.
It looks pretty cool. I'm looking at some pictures of it, too. It looks pretty cool. I love the architecture of the buildings. And the statues are very interesting. I like let me see. Man, that's pretty cool. I like it. Have you had a chance to travel anywhere else?
Outside of the United States?
Yeah.
What's so funny?
I have issues.
You're still thinking about that, aren't you?
Aaron goes to Japan. Do 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 do. Oh, what?
I'm sorry.
You killed so many of my brain cells, I forgot what you asked me.
I'm sorry. Have you had a chance to do any other traveling?
Oh,
outside
yeah,
of
yeah.
Japan?
Yeah, my wife and I went to Iceland. That's where we ate the horse's dumb cousins.
Oh, okay. Iceland.
And also fermented shark and whale blubber I don't recommend.
Okay.
Ugh.
So why? Some things I just can't help but wonder, why do people bother eating it? So why would
if you have to eat it, you have to eat something.
So those
No.
are one of those things that people ate because they had to survive, but because tradition, they still eat it.
So you mean to tell me that there were no other fish in the sea but whales and shark, and so they decided to eat it? And why was it fermented? Does that make it better?
Because you can store it for a long time.
Got you. Yeah.
I mean, the only mammals other than horses on the island at the time when they first settled it were the Arctic fox. And if you look at those, there's not a whole lot of meat on them.
True. Probably not worth chasing them. Oh, man. But I just thought there was a lot of other fish, in the sea, like Icelandic, what?
Apparently, there are not
You
a lot of
catch what
fish in
you
the
can
sea.
get, man. Plus, you pull a whale up on land, you can feed an entire village and then some.
Yeah, I guess.
For
Interesting.
months.
So a friend of mine had whale steak, and he said it was amazing, so much better than the blubber.
Okay.
But the blubber was like, you remember I said sea urchin was like a fish-flavored gummy bear?
Mm-hmm.
This was like a fish-flavored gummy bear that had come out of a gym bag. I wish people could see the look on your face right now. I have a way with words. And the fermented shark was like that with blue cheese added to it. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things you do with your guy friends. They're like, hey, let's eat this stupid thing.
And yeah, you do it.
We can't get the full cultural experience unless we try their food.
Yeah. Well, you're a brave man. I had a layover in Iceland, but I never got a chance to actually explore, go around or anything. What else did you do there? Aren't they famous for having some hot springs there? Or am I?
Yeah,
making this
actually, so before thing that got me to Iceland was the hot springs. My wife knows I love hot springs because Nevada is the most geothermally active state in the country.
Okay.
A lot of people think it's Yellowstone, but it's actually Nevada. There are so many hot springs there.
Which I actually thought too, so that's good to know.
Yeah, so we would always go camp out at some, or there are some that are built up, like a private bath you can pay for. So I didn't want to go to Iceland. Our friends invited us for their anniversary, and I was like, Iceland, that's where all the hipsters go. And my wife said, but they have hot springs. And I said, oh, yeah, you're right. So I bought a book, and I ended up enjoying it. But, yeah, they have a ton of hot springs up there.
Do you know how to say anything in Icelandic?
No. That is a hard language to speak. I think in order for a foreigner to speak Icelandic, you've got to tie a rubber band to your tongue and then proceed to take that rubber band around the back of your head.
Interesting.
It sounds very interesting, and actually Icelandic is very close to other Scandinavian languages such as Swedish, Finnish, but it's a little more archaic because their civilization was so isolated that they retained a lot of their original language.
Oh, got you. Okay. Huh. Well, there you go. History
He's
lesson.
helping us love filming in Iceland, and he's kindly agreed to teach us.
Come on, get to the talking.
Yes,
Já.
I love that one. Yow. No,
Nei.
no. Do you speak English?
Talar þú ensku?
That's Icelandic.
And they didn't even get into the 50 syllable words.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
There are a lot of gift shops in Iceland. There's a super famous volcano that went off in our recent history. And the name is more letters than there are in the alphabet. And they always have signs that say, if you can say this, we'll give you 50% off.
Oh, wow.
And they know they're going to make their money because nobody's going to be able to say it. And what hurts the most is they speak English so well. And it's like, you speak English better than I do. And I couldn't even say hello in your language.
It's just funny that there, you have to say something, but here it's eat all of this food and you get a free T-shirt. Or you get 50%, or you get it for free.
I don't know. Burger King had a special years ago when they had their, I think it was their chicken fries or whatever. They said if you bought a chicken, they'd give you
Oh, man.
a little bit off. That was a long time ago, though. Speaking of Burger King, this just reminded me of another rant about music. Mm-hmm. People like McDonald's and Burger King because it's consistent and it's affordable. And they know what they're going to get. They don't have to think about it too much. You don't have to waste half a brain cell thinking about what you're getting. And I kind of feel that way. And that doesn't mean it's good, though, because a friend of mine argued with me once that the music I listen to isn't good because nobody's ever heard of it and they don't make a ton of money like the people they listen to. So I brought the argument about McDonald's and Burger King. Just because something sells doesn't mean it's good.
That's so
How many
true.
people have heard about the hole-in-the-wall burger place in your town, and how many people have heard about McDonald's? Which one makes more money? And to me, modern pop music and modern country music is a lot like a Whopper or a Big Mac. Really terrible, saturated with the same generic stuff, but it's consistent and reliable and familiar, so people are drawn to it. Mm-hmm. And that's why I listen to stuff like Japanese metal opera and older country music where there was some soul in it, and old surf music, anything. I listen to a lot of stuff except for mainstream music mostly.
It's funny. I when it comes to music and kind of that topic that you were just talking about, I noticed that for me, when it comes to modern pop, a lot of it I don't care for, and the music that I do care for that's modern, is music that pulls elements from the older music. That's what I find myself being gravitating more towards, like music that has an older sound, or you can clearly hear influences of the older artists. And yeah, I just think that's pretty interesting. And when you mention country, old country, I think about modern country, and a lot of it does sound the same, and it's generic. I kind of like it though, because it is very like formulaic, like a formula and it's catchy.
Would you like a Bud Light with that Trace Atkins?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It is generic, but I actually kind of like it because the reason why I like it is because at least most modern country is pretty clean compared to a lot of the modern pop
I don't
stuff.
know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was in a car one time.
No.
And everyone was like, "Hey, let's all,
I'm not saying all of it is clean. I'm just saying.
And they're sitting there and describing the most salacious, disgusting things.
Oh, please.
And I was like,
I'm not saying
I turned it off, and they're like, "Why'd you turn it off?" I was like, "Did you even listen to the lyrics?" I'm like, "Read them." And he read them, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's kind of weird."
I'm not
saying modern country is clean is like walking into a disgusting bathroom and saying that stall is disgusting, but it's slightly cleaner than the other 10.
No, it's not the same. I'm talking about the country that's like played on pop radio, like the pop country crossover music. A lot of it is pretty clean when you compare it to pop music in general, which is not. It is.
No.
I have a list of modern pop songs in modern country songs in one of my
It's okay.
playlists.
There's no difference. Modern country is just pop with a fake Southern accent.
You're absolutely right. It is. I agree with you 100%. But what I'm trying to say is that I go through it. A lot of it is pretty harmless. Like, it's clean music as far as the subject
You're on
matter.
trial now, Aaron. It's 2 against 1.
I'm saying the subject matter of a lot of it is
mind.
decent. Now, if you go through the top 40, though, which is like the top 40 songs in the country over all genres, a lot of it is filth and trash and stuff. And, so that's all I was saying. I'm not saying all modern country is amazing. I'm just saying.
The top 40 songs right now.
If you do top 40, like across all genres, you're going to come across a lot of filth.
My computer won't even open it. That's how disgusting
Yeah, exactly.
it is.
It's disgusting. It's filthy. Anyway, but I do agree with what you're saying. That's all I'm saying. I agree. But
it kind of sounded like you didn't agree.
No.
Am I right?
You didn't agree.
No, I agree with your statement. About what the state of the music. I agree with what you're saying.
Aaron's not going to change his mind on this one.
A university in Spain actually made algorithms to prove modern music is terrible.
No, but I agree. I agree with you. I'm not saying it's not terrible, but I still like it. Just like it's like the Whopper or Big Mac. I mean, I don't go there, but if I did, I would enjoy the sandwich. I know what I'm going to get. I'm agreeing with what you're saying. But I still listen to some of it though, even though I realize that it's generic and it's, formulaic.
Next thing you know, he'll be asking me to pick up a 6-pack of Miller.
Oh, no, I don't drink beer at all.
In a red pickup truck.
Earlier, you got "What Does the Fox Say" stuck in my head.
That was him. I didn't mention that.
We should go sing that in karaoke.
Oh,
we can do karaoke right now.
I could do it in an opera voice.
Hey, did you go really quickly? One last Iceland question. Did you go to the Blue Lagoon?
Yeah, I did. To me, my wife really loved it, but to me, the Blue Lagoon was the Whoppers and Big Macs of Hot Springs. It was like the place where everybody goes, and there's 2 types of hot spring people. There's the people who go there to enjoy it and meditate and connect with the vibes of the universe, I guess you could say. And then there's the loudmouth, drunken, partying idiots who are just there to hang out and cause a problem.
And which party were you a part of?
I'm part of the meditative type, but Blue Lagoon, I felt like, was the partying, loudmouth people who don't go there for the right reasons. It's like a refined gentleman at a refined restaurant wearing a jacket, and then the hillbillies from 50 miles away show up with their inbred children wearing like
My goodness.
that's what I equate it to. You go to fine dining to relax and have, and then they complain because there's no TVs playing football or whatever other sports there are in the world. Those are what I equate those people to. I have an analogy for everything.
Oh, yeah, I love it. Okay. I guess the last thing we were going to bring up was the opera, which you had mentioned before. So were you trained in opera? Like, are you a trained opera singer?
I was trained in the prestigious school of shower singing.
I thought you were about to say Juilliard. I was about to say, no, you weren't.
Liar.
You did not go to... Okay.
I know you didn't do that thing you just said you did.
But no, strangely enough, I liked all types of music, including opera. And I would just goof around and sing like that until I wasn't goofing around. I got serious about it, and I was like, hey, I think I could actually do this.
Okay, I think I know the answer to this already, but I have to ask. So what do you think of Phantom of the Opera?
McDonald's, bro.
No, this is where I deviate from my own philosophy because
I thought it was going to be like, it's the Burger King, McDonald's of the opera world.
So I don't like the movie version. I've never seen the the live version. I've never seen the live version, but I would love to. Mm-hmm. I like the music in Phantom of the Opera, and it's also the most covered opera song by metal opera bands like Epica. I think Nightwish did a version. My only qualm with covers like that is the woman sings beautifully. She's always like, in sleep he sang to me, in dreams he came. And then the guy is always like, the Phantom of the Opera is there inside your mind. I'm like, okay, there's a little bit of a disbalance here. We've got the Fine Burger Restaurant and McDonald's coming together. It's just, it doesn't work.
We're going to have to sanitize that microphone after this.
I love your
enthusiasm.
Yeah.
You know, I could sing
For the
both
craft.
parts.
We can see.
If I ever got hired, I could save them money.
Yeah.
I would wear half a dress and half the tux.
We should just have him sing the outro, shall we? Cue up Phantom of the Opera. Let's
Oh man, you're gonna make me.
Yeah. What was the band that you talked about who has a version? Can we?
Oh no,
Nightwish.
Oh, you just want the instrumental, or he wants the.
I don't remember all the words though.
Man, dude, you.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah.
I was keeping it together until you guys started busting up.
Did you do a hair flick? Did I see a hair flick? That's when I died.
It was supposed to be the cape, but I don't have a cape.
Oh, okay. I thought you were doing a hair flick. That's when I died. I was like,
Jeez.
oh, that was great. Wait, was that the outro? Did we really do that as the outro? That's awesome.
Thank you for listening to Two Crazy Scoops podcast.
Hey, this podcast is gonna get you guys rich.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
Oh man, I love Burger King.
No, it's all about In-N-Out, man.
He likes Taco Bell too, so.
Oh, Taco Bell is like the McDonald's of. And I would be lying if I said I was not part of the Taco Bell cult when I was younger, but I have since grown.
There's always time to join again.
It's not even food.
Thank you for listening to Two Crazy Scoops podcast with your hosts, Ao and Antino. It was a dark and stormy night. We grabbed our microphones and headed out east. As night fell, we realized we were being trailed by Tom Loflin with his mean 6-shooter.
A pretty long outro.
tune in next week to see what happens. With me and Tom and the Two Crazy Scoops gang.